Hi there. Where are you from? Oh, it's cold this time of year. Oh, nice to meet you. Conversations between people who are nervous are some of the most painful things to watch because you can just feel the rapport breaking and feel their insides shriveling up as they get more and more nervous and uncomfortable. The problem is when you're nervous, your brain naturally won't allow you to think as spontaneously as usual. You won't be able to free flow in conversation like you can with people you know. The problem is when you're talking to other people who are nervous as well, it only compounds the problem. I'm Barron Cruz, and this is the Charisma Matrix, and today I'm going to talk to you about some techniques to help in situations which you know you're going to be nervous and or the other person is going to be nervous as well. There's nothing worse than when you get to a point in the conversation where you don't know what else to say, you know the other person doesn't have anything else to say, and there's that awkward pause, and the conversation dies. The rapport between you two dies. Usually the conversation's gonna end poorly, and you're gonna think poorly of the other person. Who knows why it is? Who knows if it's fair? But that's the way it works. Like I touched on before though, you're gonna be stifled when you're nervous. You're not gonna be able to be as smooth as you typically are. So a technique I'm gonna talk about today that's gonna help you address this is called plowing. So what you're gonna do, you're going into a conversation, let's assume to start that the other person is gonna be nervous as well. Maybe it's someone you're interested in romantically. That's typically a situation where both people are nervous. You need to anticipate the lull in conversation. And most importantly, you need not to perceive their quietness and shyness as rudeness or disinterest, but rather they're just stifled the same way you are. So you need to take the lead, guide them to comfort, show them they can be comfortable around you by taking the conversational lead and talking. So what this means is you're gonna have to do a little plowing in the field. So what plowing basically means is talking a lot more than you normally would without feedback and contribution from the other person. So typically in a conversation, the person will give ping check-ins. Yeah, okay, cool, yeah, I understand. And then oftentimes they'll pick up at the end of one of your sentences and contribute something that is a commonality between you two. You know, I just got back from a plane from Hawaii. It was great. Oh, cool. Did you go to the Big Island? I was there last month. That type of back and forth. But when someone's nervous, they're not going to be as quick to jump on those threads and to guide those threads to points that they can contribute to the conversation. So you're going to plow. You're just going to keep talking. And it's amazing. When you do, the other person just opens up. It's just like when you're at, say, a public speech and you're in the crowd. 30 minutes after the person's speaking, you feel like you're friends with them. Yet if you go up to him afterwards, he doesn't know you from anyone else. And it's kind of weird. Like, I know you, man, just because you've seen them speak. Well, plowing embodies the same kind of situation, embodies the same kind of the same kind of situation that comes from that. So you're going to give them a chance to get comfortable with you. So you're going to tell your story without any contribution. So say I'm going to, let's say, a networking event, and it's about internet marketing, for instance. So you talk to them, hey man, how are you? How long you been here? Oh, I just been here for a couple hours, just got into town. Cool, man. What kind of internet marketing you into? I do mostly pay-per-click. Oh, that's cool. I was actually reading in a magazine that the organic type of search and optimization is actually slowing down, and companies are kind of coming full circle back to pay-per-click. You're seeing a lot of startups in Canada that are focusing on this, and even some companies that went from pay-per-click to organic focus now coming back towards pay-per-click and paid advertising. Okay, so not very long, not very in-depth. I mean, you could have read a paragraph in a magazine and spit that spiel, but it's gonna give them a time to get comfortable, get their mind off the awkwardness of the new interaction and on actually what they're good at and what they could potentially talk about. So he's at an internet marketing forum, he knows about pay-per-click. So it's gonna get him out of his head where he's embarrassed and stifled and thinking about something that he knows, then he's gonna be able to jump in and contribute. So by plowing through that awkwardness, you're actually giving the person a time to get comfortable with you. And surprising as it seems, just that little 30, 45-second spiel that I gave, they're gonna feel rapport with you because you were able to get through that awkwardness that 95% of the other people that they're gonna meet at that event aren't. So let's look at a way we could do this on a first date. You don't know as much about them. Let's say it's a blind date and you're set up and all they said is, oh, she works at one of the major 4 accounting firms. That's all you know. So you're gonna come in, hey, Shelly, nice to meet you. Hey, nice to meet you too. That was nice of so-and-so to set us up. I'm excited. This place is actually really cool. I come here a lot. Yeah, I'm excited too. Okay, now there's that lull. What are you going to say? You got to have something planned. You got to know what you're going to go into. Unless you're spontaneous enough that you can just talk about the environment, which is something you can do. Some people have to get over the learning curve to be able to do that. But just go into a stupid spiel, plow through about accounting, even if you don't know anything. So I'm going to say, I heard you got on at one of the major 4 accounting firms. That's awesome. I remember when I was in Chicago, it seemed like so many people who were going to school out there were hoping to get their chance with a big firm like that. But I know how competitive it is. I know that some people look at going to management consulting firms as opposed to strictly accounting firms, but I feel like accounting is really where people want to be. Obviously, people who study accounting specifically. How did you decide to do that? Okay, so how much different does that feel than if I just said, hey, I heard you got a job at one of the major 4 accounting firms. How'd you decide to do that? Well, she's still a deer in headlights. She still doesn't have any idea of the kind of interaction it is. You have no rapport. She's still nervous. But by giving that stupid spiel about management consulting firms also in Chicago, and everyone that who goes to school there is interested in getting a job at a major 4, it gets her out of her head once again, and she's able to relax and think about something other than the awkwardness of meeting someone for a first date. So I call this the conversational breakthrough point, and you'll know it. You may have to plow 2 or 3 times, but once they contribute without being stifled. So if I said that, how did you decide to do that? And she says, I always wanted to be an accountant. Well, then you got to continue plowing. But when you can see in their head, they're opening up and being more free with their thoughts. She says, oh yeah, it's funny. Actually, a girl that I studied with decided to go the management accounting route, the management consulting route. Well, then you've broken through it and the plow's gotten through that tough soil and now you're in fertile grounds. So try this out. Go in with the plan. If you really want to challenge yourself, just spit from the environment. So you're at the restaurant. Say, when I came in here, I saw they had an IPA. I'm not a huge fan of beers, and actually a lot of times out here in California, my friends give me a hard time about not drinking the nice microbrews. I stick to the Coors Lights and whatnot, but I was excited to see they have that. Do you have an experience with beer, or do you enjoy wine? Just anything you can do, you can pull it. But understand, there is going to be a point where you're going to feel like you're talking an awful lot. Be ready for that. Be ready to carry that plow. Be the person that's capable to carry that plow. Most people aren't, but that's going to give you the opportunity to create rapport, create relationships, and have the person feel very comfortable with you in a very short amount of time.